be back in office. So got a few on Zoom as well. And we'll send out the recording as usual. So you don't have to take pictures of slides, but you're welcome to if you want. So we get started as usual, buyer needs, seller needs, anything that you've got coming up, listings, pocket listings, anything you want to talk about, floor is yours. Scott?
I have kind of a train wreck down in New Harmony. I have a guy wanting to sell $9.95 on 5 acres. He wants to buy $4.50 on a half acre. So if you've got either side of that, that would be great. The sell piece has all cement floors, they're heated floors, has a cement floored greenhouse, has a permanent chicken coop. It's bordered on 3 sides by BLM land. Nobody's building anywhere next to him ever. Red Rock Views is a beautiful, beautiful place. Also, do we have any commercial guys in here today? I got somebody looking for 8 to 12 acres. No, okay.
Whether you're a commercial guy or not, 8 to 12 acres of industrial, right?
Correct. Light industrial.
Okay.
No, don't need train access. I need good highway access.
So even if you've got somebody that's got a piece of property that's not zoned, that may be able to be zoned, something like that. Talk to your people. It's a good deal. He's got money. He's ready to spend
I'm
it.
ready to spend it. He's gonna spend it. It's a question of, do I get help with it?
Okay, who else has got something? Brooke?
I've got 2 lots down in Centerfield. And he's in the process of getting it.
Some people don't know where Centerfield is.
Nobody knows for certain.
It's now Jonathan.
Yeah, Sam, is it still San Pete County?
South
San
County.
Pete
Yep, and
Really exists.
he's being surveyed right now for somebody to be able to do some subdivision. 1 lot could be taken down as just 1 lot, and then the other lot, half an acre. Or you could get all 3 of them and do the 1 lot plus the half acre and get both lots together. He's got water with it and stuff that way as well. We're just in the process right now during surveys so we can get them marked so we know what they're getting. He's having to do a subdivision, take part of 1 lot off and throw it onto another piece of property and leave the other 1.5 acres. So
Are they in town?
they're just outside of Centerfield, but it's right on Main Street. Well, actually first west. But yeah.
There's a good taco truck in Centerfield.
What's that?
There's a good taco truck in Centerfield.
There's
Totally a reason to drive to Centerfield.
Brooke, you get that food truck on those lots.
Hey, Crystal, I know you're online and had something. If you've got a minute to unmute, go for it. Anybody online can even hear me. Maybe they can't even hear me. Maybe
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Shelley.
I have 2 listings. I just listed one yesterday. It's a 3-story townhome. Shows like a model, really well taken care of in Spanish Fork for $419,900. It's a 2,100 square feet. And then I just listed one right now. 66,000 square feet home in Mapleton. It's less than a year old. They're having to move for a job situation. Beautiful, beautiful house. It's listed at $979,900. Bring me a buyer.
Shelley, is your home on the ridge? Is that under contract?
I just listed it yesterday. No,
The one that's been under contract, the one that's been on the market for a while.
I closed one in July. If that's the one you're talking about.
No, I showed it like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, you mean on a ridge? So there's a townhome in the ridge. That's the name of the neighborhood. The one on the bluff.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's under contract. We're set to close October 17th.
Nice work.
You're an amazing agent, Shelley.
Thanks.
She's like, whatever, Perry.
I got a new listing also in Orem, North Orem. It's 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,800 square feet. Not a perfect home by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a nice home, great area over by Harmon's. It's west of Harmon's, and just in that real nice area. So if you got anybody looking in that way, I've got it at 549 549, so.
Anybody else?
We have a BYU condo that we just listed last week. It's over in Belmont. And it's one of the nicest I've ever seen. I sold one last month as well. Where it's priced, it's right where they've all been, but this one literally shows like a model, especially having students in there. It's unbelievable. So it's 375,
What's the HOA in Belmont now?
200, I think. So that's water, sewer, garbage, and then all the grounds upkeep, insurance, pool.
Is it 3-bedroom?
Yeah, yeah,
Anybody else?
375.
I'll give you Crystal. She texted it to me, most of it. Some of it. I'll give you what she gave me. 3-bed, 2-bath, top floor condo coming up. I don't know where, but it's somewhere here.
Condo, 3-bed, 2-bath?
Yep, updated kitchen, paint, flooring, 285. Located in Eagle Mountain Ranches area, 208 HOA. Buyer needs to pay gas, electricity, and interior homeowners insurance. So 285, 2-bed, 3-bed, 2-bath condo. Pretty decent.
Jeff?
Yep.
I've got a couple homes, one that we listed last week on Imperial Drive in Provo. That's 1.48 million, and it has got the most amazing view of Provo. It could use a little bit of the buyer's touch as far as remodel or just their touches on it, but it's 7,000 square feet for 1.4, and you can't get a better view than up there on Imperial Drive of Provo. Then also I have a pocket listing coming up in West Jordan, 5 bedrooms, 4,000 feet for $779 next week.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else? Okay, move on, vendor minute. All these yummy goodies are all provided by Casey and Pam from Encompass Lending, and so we'll give them a minute. I'll let Pam introduce herself. I hope you all know Casey. She's the LO here for Encompass. If you don't know her, you should, especially the program she provides. So I committed all of our vendors to take less than 2 minutes each, maybe a minute and a half or 30 seconds each.
I was like, I was not aware of that.
Couple of- They should a couple minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, if you bring steak.
I was not aware of this.
Yes. Feel free to come on up.
We got the knives here.
Actually, I hear that's brokerages. You have 11 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't take very long,
Thank you for
but
helping
I've been
us.
hired as the branch manager for Encompass Lending. Casey is the woman. She is amazing, and so we're just here to make sure we support you. Fathom wants us to support you guys. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you out. We're here to market with you. Be here. Go to your open houses, whatever you need. You let us know, you let me know, let Casey know, but we're here to help. And support,
All of it.
all of it,
And bring food.
and bring food and treats.
Steaks next time.
And steak. We have 5 minutes next.
You're in? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And if y'all know, my last name is Zimmerman, and yes, I'm related to Dawn and Corey. So 30 seconds to a minute is never gonna be enough for any of us Zimmermans, so buckle up.
Yeah.
But I am the shorter winded Zimmerman, so I will give you that. One program I want to talk about today is our 1+ program, okay? Obviously with rates and the instability and all the things that are crazy right now, one of the biggest things I want to showcase today is not just a unique program, but then also how we use a 2-to-1 buy down and kind of piggyback some of the things on top of each other to make buyers more open to the idea of purchasing and less fearful of rates and monthly payments, especially. Does everyone know what a 2-to-1 buy down is by raise of hand? Okay, so I am going to talk about that. I'm not going to go over what it is, but I'm going to give an example of this program piggybacked with a 2-to-1 buy down. Okay, so this program first is called the 1+, and what this is the borrower is going to bring 1% down payment, but we're going to close with a 3% equity. So the lender is going to be gifting 2%. Okay, so 1% down payment from the client,
2% grant. And this is not just the first time home buyer option. This is for anybody. And there's no MI on this. So this is a great product. Here's some of the features of it. It is a 30 rate fixed conventional loan. Some of the qualifications, income is a thing. It's based on zip code. So that's going to be important when qualifying them. Okay. Minimum FICO is a 620 here. The loan limit on this is 350. So this is for a smaller purchase here. One of the cool things is the loan to value. If they do want to bring or need to bring 3% as a client, so that for qualifying purposes, they'll still be gifted that 2%. So even if they bring 3%, they will still close with 5% equity. Different property types listed here: 1 units, primary residences only, eligible condos, PUDs, and manufactured housing. Obviously, yes.
When you say
absolutely.
manufacturer, do you mean like something that is already affixed to the property, or can they buy just the manufactured home and move into wherever they want?
I believe that has to be fixed. But I can
It
double
has
check
to
on that.
be fixed.
Yeah.
And only one move, so build and then move. So,
To the
so
place.
yes, it can't be in a park and then moved, it has to be built and then affixed, yeah.
And they can,
Manufactured.
but they have to
manufactured.
affix it, or they can just put it in the park.
It has to have a, it has to be
Has
fixed.
to be affixed to the land,
Yeah.
to a foundation.
Okay, so some of the benefits: lower down payments, lower mortgage payments, purchasing power. Again, I'm not going to read all of this information, but this is where I want to talk about the 2-to-1 buy down or 3-2-to-1 buy down, different options here. Again, to give purchasing confidence, more options for your borrower. This is an example, but I'm actually going to skip it because I like my example better, which I'm gonna
That's at the end.
at the very end. Okay. So here's the 1+ example. So here's just the example I did here in Orem, Utah. The Orem median income here is 85,000, which is about $7,000 a month. Okay. That means if you have a purchase price of 360, your loan amount is at 349,200. Your monthly payment, this is with today's rate. I priced it out $699, the monthly payment at $2,320. This is a Fannie Mae product now. So here's your example as is. If we want to add a 2-to-1 buy down with that, the first year of the loan will be the 4.99%. We'll be buying it down for 2 years. We'll drop that rate down for 2 points. At 4.99, their monthly payment will be $1,872. And then the second year of that loan is a 5.99, which is $2,091. And then the remaining term of loan is 6.99. Now, one of the also other great products that we have at Encompass Lending is what we call Marry the Home and Date the Rate. Has anyone not heard of this? Okay, Marry the Home and Date the Rate is a program that we're saying you buy a home and you love it, marry it. But you're only going to date the rate, because what we're going to offer you and your client is 3 years of a free, no lender fees refinance. Okay, so you can now piggyback this with a 2-to-1 buy down the rate for 2 years, and for 3 years, your client is going to have an opportunity to refinance with no lender fees. So that's, yeah.
That's 6.9. How many points are you buying now? Because that's not what today's rate really is. So that's gotta be, or not points, but costs. I mean, there's gotta be some substantial cost to get that rate, right?
So that rate is with no lender fees right now, or no compensation included. So the compensation would be,
So that's
it would be,
7%.
I added it. So the rate sheet that was sent to me, it would be about a 7.25 rate. Would be what it would be at zero cost with compensation for the loan officer. So.
That's still a great rate. So.
It's a great rate.
Well, it just seems so lower than everybody else's by, I mean, most everyone's quoting right now, 7.5
7.5.
with no
That was
fees.
the idea.
Right.
So I'm just verifying, I mean, that really is true because.
That really is true. She's really
She is after all.
Don't hold that against me.
Hey,
But yeah.
she's our lender.
I think it's because Fathom really wants us to step it up and be there for you guys and make sure you're getting these deals done.
I just closed a loan with Fathom. I'm sorry, with Encompass. And I'm new to Encompass. You guys know I just came a few months ago. And it was my very first loan and probably my hardest loan ever. I had to beat 3 different lenders. And they did everything and we won the loan and we closed it and it was not an easy loan. I can't tell you how much support and how much encompasses, not just support, but their desire to help you and your client be successful. It truly is. We put people first. And so even when your client is looking for different rates and different, looking at different lenders, because that is so important right now, there has not been some quote that I have not been able to at least match, because we will put your client first. And I know that firsthand. So yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So if they're approved by you, I mean, completely approved.
Yeah.
How long can you guarantee a close? I mean, how fast can you close?
Yeah, we ask for 3 weeks. I would say 2 to 3 weeks would be the fastest.
Okay.
Ideally 30 days. But we could push for 2 to 3 weeks if needed.
Even
So
though you pre-qualified them in every respect.
if we pre-qualified them beforehand, then we could probably push closer to the 2 weeks marks.
2 weeks,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you do ITIN loans?
We broker those out. We do have that option. So yes. And that's another thing. We do a lot of stuff in-house. Our underwriting is in-house for a lot of our loans, which is why we can close faster. But then for other unique we also have a lot of non-QM products that we broker out. So we have a lot of options and opportunities. So any other questions? Cool. I think I've taken way longer than 30 seconds. So
You took their time, now they can.
I know. Because it's I think it's all-
Thanks, Casey.
Those are good.
Ooh, yeah, it's good.
Casey's amazing. She's got some amazing programs. So if you've got any kind of situation that you're looking for a particular buyer, don't hesitate to hit out Casey. She's really good at what she does. All right, next up is our most preferred builder in the valley. Jack, give us
He's
an
got the
update of where
edge.
we're at.
He's got the edge.
Let's go, Jack.
So I know the market is struggling and I'm gonna do an informal survey. I'm gonna give you 3 things. What is the information that would be most beneficial to you for me to send on the regular? And think about it for the 3 and then just raise your hand as I go over them again. So think about quick move-in homes, information and details on quick move-in homes. New upcoming lot releases or new community locations. Which would you prefer?
Quick
Quick
moving.
moving.
Quick move-in
I
homes.
mean, they're almost finished and not sold.
So I send out that information. How many of you have received either recently or over time my email called The Competitive Edge? Scott, Perry, Pam,
Yeah, I think so.
okay. Have you guys received it? Okay. So I try to send out some pretty detailed information so that you always have that at the ready. I also am unique amongst our 28 Edge Homes agents in that I have created a proprietary portal that gives you more information at your fingertips in an instant than you can get. Because I know that people want to strike while the iron's hot. I know that you don't want to wait 2 or 3 days for somebody to call you back. And we're all busy. Stuff slips through the cracks. That's not a downer on you or the Edge agent. I just know that people are busy. And so I provide some unique things. Now let's talk about the market. Depressing right now, or slower, or affordability. I was talking to Jeff before the meeting. Demand persists. Demand is there all day long. This is an affordability crisis. But there's a challenge. And we have to answer the question, why buy now? The challenge is this. Let's say interest rates come down and come down perhaps as precipitously as they went up. What are home prices going to do?
Yeah.
So,
Rates come down, prices go up, and you're back into multiple offers, okay? Now, let's say that somebody has bought now in a slow market and even negotiated some concessions from the seller. They buy now, rates come down, what do?
Get the free refinance, no lender fees from.
They
Casey.
refinance
They
and
get
they
the
improve
best of
their
2 worlds.
situation. This is akin to you buying wrapping paper in July, rather than wrapping paper between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So make the case to your buyers as to why buy now, and I will assist in any discussion that I possibly can. Secondly, long-term, let's take a 10,000-foot drone view of Utah and this market. How many are familiar with the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute? None. Okay, University of Utah, they've been doing this for decades. They talk about population growth, demographics, growth trends, what's coming, what are we going to see? How many people have heard of MAGA, the Mountain Land Association of Governments? UTA, UDOT, have you heard of Transplan 50? Transportation Plan 2050? Google that. That is the infrastructure plan for the state of Utah for the next 30-ish years. Right now, it takes 18 minutes to go from Provo to Payson. By 2050, if we don't improve our infrastructure, how long will it take?
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half. From Provo to Payson.
It's already too long.
Yeah. It's getting nuts. So Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute, KEM, K-E-M, look that up. I just was reviewing some of the things that they've got. By 2060, 2.2 million more households, or 2.2 million more population in the state of Utah by 2060. Let's say that we divide that by three people per household, okay? That's 600,000+ new residences that will need to be built. Edge Homes is the largest builder in the state, and we build 1,800 units a year. 2,000 units a year times 40 years is 80,000 units in the face of a need of 600,000+. Prices are going to go up, density is going to increase, and you will have homes to sell. And if I'm you, I learn as much the buyer side of the market as the seller side. So.
You guys been able to lock down any land in this new Utah City?
We are looking for land all the time, and my land acquisition department does not, they play their cards pretty close to the vest. So I know that we have an interest in the Utah City. We have an interest in the Point at Bluffdale. We have an interest in Olympia Hills out in West Harriman. We have interest in West Jordan, West Valley City, South Jordan, all of those areas. But again, taking that drone view, you look down on Utah, we are landlocked or mountain locked to the east. We are mountain locked largely by the Oakers to the west. We're lake locked in the north, Salt Lake. We're lake locked in the south, Utah Lake. Where's it all got to go? It's got to go right up to the mine, okay, to Kennecott. It's got to go to the Cedar Fort Valley, which is Eagle Mountain. 55,000 residents there. How many residents do they anticipate by the time they build out Eagle Mountain? A little less, but largest, and it depends. Density may change those numbers because they've always been considering kind of residential and larger lots and stuff like that, but that may change if they put density out there. The estimate was 385,000, largest city in the state, Eagle Mountain. So learn those areas, prepare for those areas. Builders need dirt. So we're going to where dirt is. And so I'm happy to help you. We've got Harmony Ridge coming, which is a brand new community at the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon. We'll be putting in 990 units there between condos, single family, and townhomes.
When are you starting on that?
Next couple of months. So, and then
Like that's when you start the improvements.
no, we anticipate lot releases here in the next month or two.
Oh, wow.
So, and they'll start with condos, or they'll start with condos and townhomes largely, and then they'll get into single family. And that's literally right across the street to the north of the wind turbines at the mouth of Spanish Fork
Oh,
Canyon.
it's in Spanish Fork, not Mapleton.
It's Mapleton, but it's right there at the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon.
So on the north side of Highway
Of Route
6.
6, yeah.
Does each home come with a wind turbine to generate power?
No, but it comes with a tree to be able to measure.
Like that's, yeah. Somebody would be awesome, yeah, let's.
I sold a house in Spanish Fork and the buyer's agent, the buyers were very concerned about wind and they said, is it windy here? And I'm about to go, hello. It's right there. The buyer's agent turns their backs to the wind turbines. He's like, it's not bad. I was like, you.
Got a question.
Please, dude. Yes, it's windy here. There's a reason why those turbines are there.
Quick homes.
Quick move-in homes, I've got them all over the place. I've got 100+ townhomes that are quick move-ins in the low to mid fours. And then up in Salt Lake, probably high fours. Condos, I've got all day long, 3.25 to 360, depending on community location. Again, up in Salt Lake County, Harriman, Riverton, you could push 375-ish on a condo. And then single family homes all day long, anywhere 5s to 8s. So Saratoga, West Lehigh, Harriman, Riverton, West Harriman. So some great locations.
One question, Jack.
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
You talk about builders needing dirt. I understand that. Talk to us a little bit about the water situation. Where are they getting all the water for these homes?
Great question. So there's a global conversation and a more local conversation as it relates to real estate. Globally, the state of Utah is part of a multi-state, 6-state basically organization that in Utah, Colorado, Nevada, Arizona, California, and New Mexico, I think one more. Much of the runoff that we receive from the west side of the Rockies in Colorado. So Colorado had absolutely record snowfall. It helped to fill back up Lake Powell. Lake Powell is a huge challenge because the Glen Canyon Dam sits at the end of that, and that gives electricity to 8 million people. That almost became a dead pool last year because they had so little water. Bureau of Reclamation in the state of Utah has worked tremendously hard and learned from floods of 83, 2003, 2012, and others. This last year, we had more water, third wettest combined winter and spring on record since the 1890s, and we had no floods. Why is that? Reclamation. We're collecting more of it. We're utilizing more of it. We're channeling more of it. We are learning. We are refining. We are improving. And so that's a big benefit. And Utah has an advantage as it relates to those 6 states in that we are at the fountainhead. You know, we're not the trickle in Arizona. We're not Tucson, where they may be lucky to, you know, put their finger down in an irrigation canal and get it wet. So we have those benefits working for us. Now, as it relates to Cedar Fort Valley, part of the Google purchase and part of the Facebook purchase was an investment in infrastructure to be able to get water out there. So you will be taking water rights from Lehigh, Saratoga, to be able to feed these communities. And so Facebook promised $150 million in infrastructure improvement, the majority of that being water, to the Cedar Fort Valley in return for 20 years of not paying any property taxes. So they will also widen SR 73 to go out there. Google has made similar investments. So it's a great question because otherwise the Cedar Fort Valley doesn't have water. So that's those are fantastic questions, but they are being addressed. Does that answer your question? I'm talking to a TV.
Yeah, kind of. I understand the Colorado River runoff and Lake Powell and that, but that was my question. You talked about how big Eagle Mountain was going to be, and that's true. There's no water out there, and so I'm like, well, where are they going to get water from? They're taking it from Lehigh, but Lehigh's building too, and so I'm still confused a little bit of where all this water is going to come from. I've got in-laws that live in Fairfield, Cedar Valley, and they're like, there's no water. So where's it going to come from?
Yeah, that is a nebulous question that's being worked on every day from a whole lot of people smarter than me. And I don't think anybody has easy answers. There will be every single thing that they can do, from reclamation to conservation to changes like Harriman, for instance. You can't, everything now has to be xeriscaped on front yards. They won't even do new developments that have grass. They're even talking about dietary restrictions, because one of our largest expenses is watering alfalfa fields. So they say, do you want to reduce water consumption in the state of Utah? Eat less beef and cheese. I mean, these are all I know. These are all combined initiatives and needs to try and conserve water and provide for the people moving to the state. This is a desert, and we understand that, and it has its own unique challenges for sure, Mike.
All right, thanks, guys. Jack will be around after, so please feel free to sit down with him and talk. He's got answers for all kinds of stuff, including water.
I try to provide above and beyond service and hope to be able to help you.
He's gonna bring lobster along with his steaks.
Is he gonna bring him in water?
Yeah. So going from edge to knives, right? We're gonna go from edge to knives, and Tara is up, and so we'll give Tara a few minutes.
Or 30 seconds,
Whatever.
whatever I want to take this as. So yes, we're gonna talk about something more fun than water. We're gonna talk about knives. So, yeah, how to cut all the beef and cheese that we're not gonna eat any longer. So, everybody here familiar with Cutco? Yeah, anybody have Cutco? Okay, look at all the sexy, intelligent people. If you haven't heard of Cutco, we've been around for 74 years, American made, guaranteed forever, dishwasher safe, stays sharp an extremely long time. We guarantee everything. So if you chip, crack, break, melt, burn, bake, I could tell you stories of the things I've heard. We replace everything for life. What we do is we help you say thank you to your clients by using our product, putting your name, your number, your logo, your tagline right there on the product. You can do big and bold on the front, small and discreet on the back, turning your client gift into that long-term branding and retention tool. You can do really clever things. I'm full of cheesy taglines, sharpest realtor in town. Thanks for being a slice of my success. Stop cutting my commissions, whatever you want. Thank you for laughing. It's the only joke I have. But basically this turns your client gift into that long-term branding and retention tool. NAR says that 87% of people would use a realtor again, but only 9% ever actually do, right? Because they can't remember your name. So what is happening to all those other people? They just can't figure out, your name just isn't there when your name or your contact info isn't there when your name comes up in conversation. So you can be doing all the right things, have all of your email drips, all of your newsletters, your systems in place, but it's just not enough to cut through all that noise. So that's where we come in play. I know, I'm impressed with myself sometimes. They just come. But so that's where we come into play. So we're going to help you give something that's going to be in front of your clients 365 days a year. Because the one thing that all Americans have in common is they all eat. Whether they cook because they love to cook or they cook because they have to stay alive. Good knives make all the difference, right? So if they're going to cut food, why wouldn't they do it with the best? And why wouldn't they do it with something that you are going to give them that is going to be their favorite knife in the kitchen, sparking conversations about you and your services when you're not even there? Because once they use Cutco, all of a sudden they're going to be talking about it with their friends and their family when you're not even there. People are going to be automatically using the knife going, hey, where'd you get that red handled knife? Where'd you get that white handled knife? Oh, well, my realtor gave it to me. Who's your realtor? And all of a sudden those conversations are sparked. Now, does anybody know what the IRS currently allows you to write off per closing gift?
$250.
Oh, that'd be nice. No, $25 per client. Now, I did hear a rumor that it's going up to $27. Calm yourself down. $25 per person. Now, because your info is on the product, it makes it 100% tax deductible because it shifts it over into advertising or marketing. So now that's going to serve your business better, right?
See, I
Now,
told you.
it's close, right? Yeah. So it just serves your business better. So what we do is we help you figure out how many gifts you'd use over the next 6 months to a year, ship them all up front in one box, saves you on the shipping, and then we spread it out and bill you monthly at 0 interest, so it doesn't hurt the cash flow. But then you have that system in place, so you have the gifts on hand. When you need them, you just grab them, give them, they love them, you're done. They're not donuts, they're not going to go bad. So if you have some left over, when we call to check on you, that's not a bad thing. If you need some more before we give you a call, that's a good problem to have. Give us a call, we can get some more coming for you. The last thing you guys need to be doing is spending your time out of your business running, trying to figure out what the heck to get your clients, because everybody eats, right? The #1 used room in the home, according to NAR, is the kitchen. So these are going to be out all the time being used. So we do have 3 different colors, red, white, or the classic. I am going to hang out in the conference room so that if you guys want to come, I'm going to be here for a little bit after the meeting. If you guys want to talk about prices or anything, you can come and talk to me about that. I would pass them around, but we usually get a bleeder every couple of weeks. And so you can come see me then. But I do like to give Cutco away. So is that okay? Can I give some Cutco away? Cool. Everybody got their cell phone on them. This is the new way that we do that. And that way our Zoomers can get in on it. So Zoomers, pick up your cell phones. I'm gonna get my numbers up here. So you're gonna pull out your texting app and you're gonna text me. So I'll give you my number on Zoom because I don't think you can. Oh, can you see? They can see the screen? Great. So you're just gonna text me your name and your email. That's gonna automatically get you into my drawing. I'm gonna head over to the conference room and put you all into my wheel of names and let the internet do the job. And then if you do want to schedule some time to talk to me about the gifts, just add the word sharp. So name and email will automatically get you into my drawing, and then the word sharp will get you 15 minutes.
What do you want in the message?
Name and email. And sharp if you want to talk to me about the guests. And that's what I got for you. So thank you for having me.
Nice name capture.
Mine is just nobody has company name put on the knives. I've still got home smart things.
So one of the things that I have an option for you for that, because
Jeff buy them back.
you can always just brand yourself and put the realtor logo. You're always going to be a realtor, right?
I think don't you have to have a company
You have
name?
to have the
And but here's the thing, your name and your phone number hasn't changed, your service hasn't changed, so it doesn't matter what company you're with. Give them to your friends and family, they're your biggest fans anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, use them as charity donation
There you go.
items.
They still work, they still cut meat. They
Yeah,
just say a different name.
steak, beef and cheese.
They don't really care what company you're with anyhow.
They need your name and number, that's what they need.
All right, guys, in-house partners, I get asked this every week. Do we have any in-house partners? I'm just gonna remind you guys, like, Encompass is actually a Fathom company, right? They're our in-house lender. We love them. Casey does amazing work. If you guys haven't worked with her, you really need to take the opportunity to do so. Branda's here from Bears Title. Brandon, have you got anything you want to share with us? For a second?
I won't take up your time, only 10 minutes.
Okay, well, that's great.
No, I just wanted to remind you, we have lots of really good tools. We have our app that you can for deposit of earnest money for your clients as well. And then we have another app if you want to do net sheets, anything like that. But we're here for you guys, anything you need.
The app's awesome. I love the earnest money deposit function of that. And then Dagley Insurance, just so you know, Dagley Insurance is part of an outreach that Fathom does to all of your buyers whenever you put them in a tele-agent, unless you've opted out. Your buyer gets a phone call. It's a very soft phone call about, hey, would you like an insurance quote? They say no, great, we'll move on. There's no hard sell. They say that they represent you as Fathom Realty, so just know your clients are getting that. I actually moved all of my insurance over to Dagley Insurance this past month. They do a great job. So if you haven't had a quote from them, you might want to take the time to do that.
Do you know if they do off-grid properties?
If they do,
Off-grid?
I do not. No idea. I mean, I would assume they're nationwide, so.
I just share, I also printed out a flyer of that 1+ program. So that's up there if you want information in a card.
It's right next to the donut, so you can't miss it.
Please take one of everything of the.
Don't use it for a napkin. We got plenty of napkins. Hey, guys, vendor recommendation database. I'm in the middle of building this and I need your help. I've got a lot of stuff in, but I need more, and this is gonna be something you guys can access on the regular, because you're always calling me to say, hey, can you recommend X, Y, Z? I mean, I get questions about everything. So if you've got anybody in the business, like somewhat associated with real estate, if you'll just email those recommendations to me, I'd love to put them in. I'll give you credit for giving those recommendations and those kind of things. So if you'll remember to do that. All right. Agent secrets. Our agent secrets comes from the person who just left the room, which is perfect timing. So Agnes went down. Agnes and Tim were part of the group that went down to our summit down in Las Vegas. I asked her to just give us some information about what she saw down there, what she learned, her one or two big takeaways from there. And so let me pull her slides up and we'll give her all the time. Okay, all yours, and I don't know. Oh, it does work.
Awesome.
The big button in the middle.
The big button, okay. All right, so it was funny because when Jeff asked me to talk about it, I was like, that's funny, I like document everything, so, and I like going to conferences, so I'm always getting information just so that I'll remember what I learned. But anyway, so yeah, we went to the Fathom Summit in Vegas this year. It was our first time going to the Fathom Summit because they didn't have one obviously before. We loved it. I loved it because it was a great way to connect with other agents all over the United States and to kind of like build connections. So yeah. We stayed at Resort World. That was kind of where they had us staying. It was a newer hotel. I loved it. You can tell from my videos, I'm kind of embarrassed to share these. I like to take video of things to show my kids like where we are and things like that. My grade, she's playing this. Okay, to play, is it just the middle?
You push the middle.
That mini
Okay.
fridge is empty, Jeff.
What happened next?
I was showing my kids, but I was like, oh great, this is the only video I have, so we're just over here.
Dang. TV, look at that cool dresser.
I obviously don't get out.
Cool. 27.
Awesome.
Look at the pool down there. It's like multiple pools.
Yeah.
It's sneaky pools.
I refer to.
It's crazy.
because my kids like animals, but anyway. Okay, and then. This
Okay,
is the
look at the
bathroom,
bathroom.
nothing to
Say.
I thought it was. I really
This
missed
is
it.
crazy. Yeah, this is really awesome. Looking. Ooh, how many pools are you doing my makeup? Well, that's cool.
I really thought this was only going to my kids, but then I was like, whatever, they're. Just like, let's go. All right. And then this was a little bit more, this was like the pool. It was really nice. I feel like Fathom really cares about just making a good impression and having you stay somewhere nice. And so I was like, wow, this is gorgeous. I was thinking of taking our family back there because I felt like there was lots of different areas that you could be in the pool. There was like a kids pool and adult only pool. You could get drinks. They would ask you how you were doing if you needed something. It was just really, really nice.
Sorry, I missed this. Where was this?
In Vegas, Resort World. So it was one of the newer ones. And even though there was construction going on, you couldn't really feel it. And the one thing that Tim and I were talking about, the ventilation in that hotel was really good because you didn't really feel the smoke either. And so I was like, oh, this is really nice. Networking. Right when we got there, we drove. And right when we got there, there was like a get to know you activity where you went around asking people, you know, just different questions. They gave you bags. This was the bag that they gave us. Swag and t-shirts. This was a cute little thing to put your cards on. And then the Fathom that t-shirt was really cute. I'm excited to wear this while walking around and putting out flyers. It's all good. I was like, did I push something? So yeah, so it was really good. The vibe was great. This is just when you first got there. There's a lot of people there already, and everyone was just kind of getting to know each other. It was really nice. I loved that they gave us like little name tags with where you were from. So that was a good way to get to know people. You would just say, oh, you're from Texas or whatever. And so that was really nice. Schedule of events, my favorite part about the summit. I feel like a lot of people who give conferences don't really have it down in the fact that, like, if I want to go to one event at 1:30, I really want to go to two maybe at 1:30, but I can't go to that because I want to go to one and you can't be in two places at one time. But the thing I really loved about the Fathom summit was that they pretty much had the classes, the breakouts repeating almost every single time. So if you missed one on the first breakout, you could go to the one that you wanted to see on the first breakout during the second breakout. So most of the classes were repeating, which I really, really enjoyed and loved. And at the very beginning, they would tell us, you know, you don't have to be there, optional or not optional, but it was really nice. The first day they served a really good lunch. It was buffet style, so I took a lot of food and a lot of desserts, but it was really good. So they provided a really nice lunch, but that was so that we could get back together and then do the summit towards the end and do some more breakout classes. And the second day was the same thing. Again, the classes that were held the first session and the second session, there were pretty much repeats of each other. So you could kind of go to everyone. On the second day, everyone just went and did their own thing for lunch so that you could have dinner with them. They provided a really nice dinner on the last day. There was a great vibe there. I was really, really excited because I felt like we were at like girls camp kind of. I feel like everybody was really hyped up and excited to be there. We can play this. This is Josh, I believe. Oh, I didn't send you this. Oh,
The more we lift them up, the better they are, the better we are. That's the way it should be. So that was a big inspiration, why we think it's maybe. And one of the things I love about Fathom is they come to our commission model. They hear a lot of people say they come to the commission to pay the culture. And I love that because I'll tell you, Marco was joined, he understood the vision, but it really got to get home. And Marco was telling me a story that one of his first days, he was in his office, Katie came in, and she was holding him back and she was crying. And Marco thought, oh crap, what did we do wrong? No one like paying him.
I love seeing this, but I feel like he's really personable.
Like nothing. I can't believe that it's real. I'm able to keep this much. I can't go first way specifically, but I can tell you how many times people come to me and told me that they were able to avoid that to turn about 2010. The end of that housing recession. I can tell you a lot of agents, you know, very hard to get a bill.
It looks like I didn't give him permission to show this one. It was just it was kind of like what's that song? YMCA, but they did the Fathom thing and everybody's jumping around and it was pretty cool and it's just a good vibe again. And then look what's coming. Apparently we're getting a mobile app from Fathom Realty. And so I'm super excited about that because we can kind of do things on our phones. Breakout sessions. I went to a lot of good ones. There was a lot of good sessions. Like I said, I wanted to hit them all. This one was one on YouTube, and I wrote down his name because he offers classes and stuff. But he basically, did I not give permission on this one? Let's see.
They both look like that.
Okay.
This is the main video you're watching.
He's talking about how to get more views, basically.
In Louisiana, specializes in tiny homes. We'll take a look at how we got to that. So the title of the video is Tiny Home Scam, Buyer Beware. You guys see that? And then up here, this is called the up next section. And this is where you want to be on YouTube. When the viewer is watching one of your videos, you want another of your videos to be appearing in the up next section. We call this a binge trigger. The idea is that you will watch this video and then immediately start watching this video.
I feel like it works.
How do you get brains out here?
Go from one video to another.
5 reasons not to buy a tiny manufactured home.
So he's basically saying, take all of your titles and make them similar so that people will go from one title to another.
On tiny homes.
And he kind of explains a little bit more this next one.
This is how YouTube wants you to build videos. They want you to build episodic content.
one video, then another, multiple videos on one topic. In other words, go deep. Go deep. Okay, let's take a look at an example. I think that's gonna struggle with this guy over here. Christina wanted to capitalize on the trending topic of tiny homes. So that became her main topic, or what we call a sideline. And then she began to come up with individual titles like tiny home scale. Huge lies about tiny homes. 5 reasons not to buy a tiny home, and so on and so forth. What we're doing is we're creating a silo of content. We have no control over how the people will experience it. They might watch video 6 first. They might watch video 2 last.
Okay, breakout sessions. This was another breakout session. She just talked about systems and how systems help our business run smoothly. And so she talks about your moneymaker system is first get found, get contacts, get the listing / buyer, prep the listing and buyer, deliver your awesome, like what makes you special, share the love and work your spear. And I feel like everybody talked about that while we were there, is like, who do you already know? These are the people that you already know. And I actually brought that paper so we can make copies and hand it out to everyone. I forgot to do that before I got here. And then she talks about what systems do for you. They give you freedom, accountability. You save your brain power, you increase productivity. You are, decrease in resources, more room for creativity. And she says she likes having things on autopilot. And I thought that was really cool. This was one on short form video. And he basically was saying how to go from invisible to invincible. And his name was Brandon. He was really, really good. I also thought he was good because he knew how to present to people really well. So it was really exciting. And he gave you a lot of information. I was just like snapping pictures and trying to get stuff. But he just talks about how he started taking videography of homes. And then he just went into how to kind of get people seen. He said, with your social media, he said, keep it fun and entertaining. Don't take your brand too seriously on social media. Use comedy and interact with your audiences. Create videos that encourage engagement. Hot takes, just little things are hot takes. He said, the video that you're doing right now, that's a hot take. Opinions on current events and fun facts. And I thought that was cool. And then he just kind of talks about these people. I don't know if we need to go through that right now.
So
but
basically, real estate has done this. His name. He raised about multiple $1 million capital just straight on social media. In the middle, Cody Sanchez.
He just talks about these people and how they put their businesses. I don't know. I think it's short. Okay, good. We can move on. Agent panel. Tim was on the agent panel, and I really love this question that Josh had for one of the people on the panel. Basically, he's saying, you've been in the business for so long, you've seen the ups and downs. What is some advice that you have for us? And so I didn't really shorten it, but we're gonna go on after that. But this is where she calls everyone up and kind of introduces them. And then yeah, I really love that Josh had that question. And again, you get to see his personality and how loving he is and just how interactive he is with everyone.
Either side of the
she's
stage
just asking everyone to come up. Let's see if we can see. Yeah. Oh, it's still, we'll just wait for this one. So they're just all kind of taking their seat up there.
When it gets fun, people. All right, so I want to just do a brief introduction. What I'm going to do is just tell you who they are and where they're from, and I'm going to let them afterwards kind of give you their quick elevator pitch, if you will.
All right, this is Josh's. Oh, hold on.
When I go back,
This is the ending. We'll go back to what Josh had to say. Hold on one sec. Let's see if I can go back. Oh yeah, okay. Oh no. Maybe I don't have the picture that started. I will get that to you. But this was the last night. It was just a really fun event. They made it really special. Everything was fancy. The food was great. I feel like we're really lucky to be a part of Fathom. Some of the things they gave away, this is kind of cool. This is supposed to be like a card tray. Some of us have said it doesn't really work. I'm gonna use it as a charcuterie board if I have an event with a bunch of people. Again, the shirts, and that's it in the bags. But it was a really fun event. I would suggest going. I feel like you can connect with other people and get business. These ladies I met from Idaho, and so now I feel like we have that connection for if ever they have someone moving up here or if I have someone moving down there. And yeah, that was pretty much it.
Have that flyer and you can get it.
Yes.
She'll make copies for you. All right, guys, so that's our hour. But I'm gonna go through the rest of the 3 hours of stuff that we've got. This is the number of agents that we've had join just recently. So we've had 8 people join the team. Glad to have each of them. They're all great agents. Excited to have each one of them join us. Can't wait to see what they do.
Any of them here?
I don't think we've got any of these guys here right now. But every one of these except one is a referral from another agent. And so just know that that matters, right? It matters to these people that they know someone in the business that's actually enjoying what they do and what they get here. So if you have anybody you work with, please let them know. Love to have them join. So that you know when you're in a deal, I'm sending out a handwritten card to the agent on the other side every time. It's not a sales, anything about the brokerage, just saying, hey, Perry's the worst agent in our brokerage. And
give him a call.
Yeah, give me a call if you need help, right? So it's just one of those kind of things. So that you know, if you send me a referral of an agent, just sending me the referral gets you a ticket into the $100 Amazon gift card. And so you'll get I give one of these away at every team meeting. So if you want to get in that drawing, just send me a referral. They don't have to join, just send me a referral. Okay. And this month's winner. Well, I can make sure she gets that. All right, we had our summer strength training competition that was going on, trying to help you guys do things to improve your business. For everything that you did, you earned points, and those points went into a drawing. You had the opportunity to win a year of follow-up boss or a ticket to Ninja Selling. And so the winner of this is pretty cool. Make sure you get your prize on that. All right, let's talk about improving your business. Every week at the end of the week, I send out a weekly update. I know some of you get it, some of you actually open it, and a few of you actually watch the video. So thanks for the 2 that actually do that. That's great. Just so you know, thanks. So just so you know, I put in your legal updates, your marketing ideas. I've got Fathom information, intelligent stuff. So that's there for you every weekend. I try to give you content that you want, but if you're not getting what you want, just let me know what you want. I'm happy to give you really whatever you want. And then upcoming, you should have gotten this email last night. This is my favorite email I've ever sent. And because at the bottom, it has a nice big red register now button. And when you click it, nothing happens. And so I've got like 50 of you guys have emailed me and said, I clicked the button and nothing's happening. I clicked like 10 times and nothing. So apparently you guys are just clicking this button that I accidentally left in the email. It was not supposed to be part of it.
Test to see if they're really looking.
It's one of those fidget things where if you're bored any day, you can just pull up. This one actually got a lot of response, right? So we're gonna have these mastermind groups. It's gonna be sure.
So you on the flyer or whatever you call it when it comes in email. It showed what you were going to cover on the newer agents and what you were going to cover on the other. Now, I'm not newer, but I was very intrigued. That would be a refresher. Can you do both?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. You can do both. You can do one or the other, really whatever you want. The newer agent one is more about basic topics and things like that, right? And giving more accountability. There will be more accountability in that newer agent one than there is in the experienced one. Right. The experienced agent mastermind isn't really about accountability. It's more about bouncing ideas off of each other and talking about topics that are currently affecting the market and how to improve your business. right? And so you can join either one or the other. My plan was to start it this coming Monday, but I've got a surgery coming up, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. But we'll probably start with the Experience Mastermind the second Monday of the month. So anyhow, if you want to be a part of that, let me know. We'll reach out to you and make sure you've got all the information.
And the second, is it Zoom or is it in person?
In person. Yeah, those are gonna be in person. So you've got to take the time to come.
I just need to know.
down.
Helicopter would.
All you've got to do is do more business and you can have whatever you want.
There.
And that's what we're gonna do, make you a billionaire. Our picture wall behind us is growing. It's bigger than it was last time I even took the picture. So please remember when you go to closing, take a picture with your client. We would love to cover this room with you guys in your closings. So please send that over to us. Cool. All right, current market. We're going to talk about the current market and what's happening. This is a quick Ninja video. It's about 1.5 minutes. So this is from Ninja Selling.
Hello, Ninjas. Larry Kendall here with your weekly action tip. Have you heard this statement? There is no market. With these interest rates, there just is no market. Well, I would encourage you to change your mindset on that. Let's look at the facts. Most markets are down maybe 20 or 30%. What does that mean? Well, it means that the class is 70 to 80% full. What that also means is there is a market. There's always a market. And the reason there's always a market is because people's lives change. Think about it. And they're four: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. People get married, people get divorced, people have children, people become empty nesters, people get promoted, they get laid off, they get transferred. If you think about it, there's so many changes going on, and that's why the market right now is operating at 70 to 80% of the historic highs. There is a market. Your mission is to change your mindset. The action tip for this week: change your mindset. Say to yourself, there's always a market. My job is to find it. There's always a market. My job is to find it. Have a great week.
So this one really hit home for me because I've had a constant stream of agents in my office for the past 2 weeks wanting to know, how do I improve my business? What do I do? The market's dead. There's nobody out there. There's nobody to talk to, right? There is always a market. It might be crazy, it might be slow, it might be fast, we don't know, but there's always some kind of a market out there. In a normal market, in a slower market, it's about the agents who are willing to go do the work, right? Consistent effort over time is going to equal success for you guys. So just remember that that market's always there. I'm going to go through stats fairly quickly. These slides will all be in your email when I send it out. But just kind of want to give you an overview. Currently, we've got 9,400 actives. That's up about 4% is all.
That state or that's Utah County?
That's all of the state. Yeah, Utah State. Number of solds in the past 90 days, we're down about 6.5%. We've had 9,000 sold, and under contracts are down about 4% over the last 90 days. So that's an interesting number to see that we're 4% down on that. Let's go over the URE, so Utah Real Estate. This is the MLS numbers for August 2022 to 2023 and year to date. And so these are the interesting ones. You'll see that our new listings are down from last August. So August to August in comparison are down about 8%. New listings year over year are down about 21%. So even with last year, we thought, we had a ton of listings coming on. We are still down. Closed sales, we've closed about 17% less sales. Interesting that although we're closing less and we have less inventory, our prices, we really haven't dipped hardly at all. Year over year, August to August, dipping 1%, right? That's barely a move at all. So, it's what, $5,000 there? So that's huge. Looking at under contract homes, and so the bars, don't worry about the lines, just the bars themselves show you how many homes have been under contract or are currently under contract. So you look back in 2021, 2022, got a ton of houses under contract as they were moving through the market. We've seen that come down quite significantly. Interest rates bumped right here in August and September, and that bump that we saw, number of under contracts went way down, right? But since that point, we really have been very steady, right? It's not that we've seen a huge crash. If you remember back in 2022, we were headed for a worse crash than we have ever had. That's what was predicted. All we've seen is a nice steady market. It hasn't been super slow, it hasn't been super busy, it's just been kind of steady. If we overlay that now with interest rates, this red line indicates the interest rate. 7 being up here, 3 being down here. So we started 2021 at a 3% interest rate. You can see where the interest rates have gone over time. As the interest rate went up to 7 last year, that's when we saw the nosedive in number of under contracts, right? We significantly went down. Then interest rates dropped, and all of a sudden the market came back, right? Interest rates go up, we dip a little bit. Interest rates go down, we jump a little bit, right? And that's the path that we see all the way along. And then what happens? We're now at 7.5, our highest interest rate. Why are we up? Demand, right? We've still got demand. All these people are waiting, right? They're waiting, sitting here waiting, but they can only wait so long before they've got to buy a house.
And a lot of time the pause is nothing more than I've got to wrap my head around, I'm not getting a single family home, I'm getting a townhome, or I'm not getting a townhome, I'm getting a condo.
Yep. So it's Mark
But we're
wrapping their head around.
sellers too, because they were gone through a psychological adjustment this year as well.
Yep.
Because they, it's taken 6 to 8 months for some of them to wrap their head around that they're not gonna get a higher price.
Right. Let me wrap your heads around affordability a little bit, right? I think that we hear that word and what it really means and how it actually affects consumers. This is taken from a Washington Post article. So in 2016, Sally buys a house for $300,000. Okay. She puts down 20% and she now has a $240,000 mortgage at 3.5% in 2016. And her monthly payment's $1,012.
That's for that. That's with MI. I mean, yes, it's one of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. In 2023, Sally's house is now worth approximately $500,000. Okay. She repaid about $40,000 if you kind of figure out paying that $1,000 over time, right? About $40,000 of her mortgage at this point. So she's feeling pretty good that she's got $260,000 in equity. Sally thinks, hey, it's time to move. It's a great time. I need a new house. I've got a lot of money. I'm going to put down a large down payment, right? She figures after fees, taxes, commissions, all that kind of stuff, she's probably got about $225,000 that she can take from her existing home and take over to her new home as a large down payment of $225,000 on her new home. But she wants to keep her payment about the same, about $1,000 a month. Okay. So she can borrow another $150,000 at the 7.25 interest rate. That means she can buy a home for $375,000. Right? She's just lost $125,000 because her current home is $500,000. She's now buying a house for $375,000. She's actually buying a smaller home, a worse home at the same payment. Right? That's the thinking that these sellers are going through. Now let me run this by, I'll send this out, so just watch it. But he goes through a totally different perspective on this and shows affordability at a little bit different interest, a little bit different view, and shows how actually with inflation of wages and how wages have come up a little bit and those kind of things, if we will just drop to about 6.5%, that affordability basically levels out. Right? Above 6.5, affordability isn't there. Below 6.5, it's actually there. So take the time to watch this. I'm not going to do it for you right now, but he's really good. I'll send you the link to that. Affordability current headlines: mortgage rate demand shrinks as interest rate hits a 23-year high today at 7.5%. Buyer remorse because of this, right? We're now at 7.5% today. And what's putting the pressure on? Millennials, right? That group is having a really hard time right now qualifying, and they're the biggest consumer in the market. Student loan repayment came back. We've got a government shutdown. We've got oil prices. We've got strikes, a lot of strikes across the country that are imminent. And the Fed has come out and said that they're planning on keeping the rate higher for longer. Right? They haven't said that they're going to decrease the rate. They're just saying that they're going to leave it steady for a little while. They're also not saying they're gonna raise it, but the guess is they're gonna hit us one more time during the year. So what does that do? This is back to market. So this is canceled listings, right? Listings that have been under contract and come back on the market. This is what we're seeing as a trend, right? In July, interest rates came down a little bit. They started to dip down, but now we're headed back up again. So this is a pretty good trend line as affordability has been really hit, right? And so as you're out there in the market, really don't be shy as a buyer's agent to go into backup position. It's a great place to be. We've got a lot, almost 20% of listings coming back on the market right now. If you're seeking and you find a house that you love, don't be shy to go ask Perry, hey, I know your house is under contract. Would you be willing to take a backup offer? Right? Because it's a good position to be in. And if you're a listing agent, get backup offers.
Yeah, I don't know if who all saw the article, but a few weeks ago, there was an article out that the month of August, there were more under contract homes that failed than in history. There were over 60,000 of them that failed.
It was just over 16% nationwide.
I will caution, I don't mean to counter what you said, but
I'm not the expert, right?
Yeah, I would caution on taking backups for our listing. I learned this the hard way in the month of August. I had a condo down at BYU and we had multiple offers immediately. We accepted one and then put another one in backup. And then that was over probably a Friday, I want to say. Monday, I get a cash up buyer calling, willing to pay 15,000 over any higher offer that I mean, he told me the price he would pay, which was 15,000 more than the offers we had. The first offer canceled, the second offer just moved right in, and it was still 15,000 lower than what that cash offer would have been. Had we not taken that backup offer, we would have had the cash offer. And so, just something to kind of consider, because I always thought, oh yeah, it's great to have a backup as a backup, but.
Right, is there always a blanket statement that works?
What's
right?
that?
There's never a blanket statement that works in real estate, right? Always take backups or don't take backups or whatever it is, right? You really got to look at your situation.
The bird in the hand.
Sometimes.
Todd, let your wife do the negotiation. Women love cash.
Hey, I will say though, the nice thing because we did have that other cash deal, when they tried to negotiate for inspection items, for extending closing, extending dates, we just said no to everything, and so.
Please cancel, right?
Yeah.
You did make the right decision.
We gave you 1,000 to go away.
So one of the big items that I hear from you guys almost every day is the commission lawsuits that are up. We saw Anywhere Real Estate, which used to be Real G, which is C21, Coldwell Banker, Better Homes and Gardens, those guys. That huge conglomerate. They settled their portion of it. Remax settled their portion of it. Want to give you kind of just this overview of what this lawsuit is about.
The big news that's come out the last week, both Remax settled for $55 million, Anywhere Real Estate, the conglomerate of big companies, settled for around $83.5 million, basically against a class action lawsuit that said it's not right that a seller should have to be required to pay a buyer agent commission in order to list their property. So let's talk about this. What does it mean? Well, both of these places are not admitting guilt. They're just saying they're settling. It's time to move forward type of thing. And they said that they will change business practices. And what does that mean, change business practices? Well, I think it means that they're not going to require a seller, to offer out a buyer broker commission anymore, although I'm not sure that's in the seller's best interest. So I think most will still do it. But it also means as an industry, real estate people, we are going to have to retrain now on how you get that buyer broker signed, right? So actually have a signed agreement so that your commission is absolutely protected.
Okay, so this lawsuit is about the seller should not be required to pay a commission to the buyer's agents, right? And you're seeing a lot of MLSs already move to this. You do not have to put in any number. You can put in 0, right? So that's there. How this plays out and what it is in the end, you've got a couple of different impacts, right? Buyers are going to be impacted because they may be paying commission. They may have chaos in offers because they're representing themselves.
MLS is already doing that.
MLSs, honestly, if this goes the worst way, which is buyers agents go away, MLSs go away. There's no reason to have.
So Zillow and Realtor.com.
Right, associations, you've got the same thing. They're going to be in further lawsuits. Zillow, what's their business model if we now don't advertise listings like we used to, right? Agents, what are our commissions, et cetera?
But you know, none of these buyers or sellers had to sign that commission agreement.
Nope.
I mean, it's just silly
Well-
to agree to it and then say, oh, I'm gonna sue you because I.
So that's the suit, right? The suit is that they're saying that listing agents were requiring you to offer a buyer's agent commission if you were going to sign their listing agreement, right? And so you're gonna see listing agreements be much more explanatory about you do not have to offer this if you don't want to.
So that 6 pages will have.
You're gonna get
lawyers
yeah.
that are created.
Yeah, it's
Because they're getting paid.
I'm saying more 2% BSA. too.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of when we were having the banks push so that they could sell property and you kind of take out the realtors. And I think it's kind of a similar gimmick.
Sure. And what the long-term impact of this is, we don't know, right? My guess is it's gonna be fairly minimal, if you had to guess. I think it's gonna be minimal. It's gonna maybe change the way that commissions are paid, but I don't think it's gonna eliminate them. We're gonna find different ways to have money move from one hand to another, but it's basically gonna be the same in the end. It's probably gonna be quite some time until we really see serious impacts, even if it's a huge ruling, because we're gonna have to go through the whole court case, then you're gonna have appeal after appeal. And so it's gonna be a while till we know about this, but just get in the practice of getting your protections in place, right? Like you said, make sure you're getting your commissions in writing, make sure you're getting your buyer brokers, your ERS signed. That's the important part of this.
That goes back to what we talked about earlier is the system, the checklist.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's gonna be hard for cash grant buyers to do that, to have to come out of pocket for buyers.
Yeah, there's all kinds of implications on this, so it's gonna take some serious.
Lenders are looking at maybe letting borrow the money and having it alone.
But
That's gotta go through a whole
They're
national.
Fannie Frank.
Yeah.
We thought that when we get these brokerages, there's no service brokerages, and it was gonna be the end of our career
yeah.
too, and it didn't, so.
There's always disruption in the market,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of moving and changing with the market,
Exactly.
so it'll be fine.
And if you use that, you get a 3% BAs.
There you go. All right, want to run you through a legal issue that we had here in the brokerage. This is an actual legal situation that we had come up. We represented the seller, and in section 8.3, this is how it was written. It was checked that financing is required, and this $10,000 was filled in. What is this $10,000 in this spot mean? In section 8.3 of the rep sheet.
The earnest money.
What about it?
It goes back to.
It's
It goes to the seller under what circumstance?
If they don't cancel, or if they don't hit that deadline.
If there's a cancellation after the financing, after the due diligence deadline and before the financing appraisal deadline, right? So this went on, the buyer needed an extension for due diligence, and this addendum got created. The important part of this addendum, there's an extension and there's a purchase price. The important part is it says $10,000 of earnest money shall be refunded to the buyer only if the buyer fails to qualify for a loan or mortgage funding. The seller shall retain the $10,000 if the buyer cancels the rep C for any other reason. Okay.
So now there's 20,000 in play.
It's still the same $10,000. They're just saying it's now non-refundable if the buyer cancels for any reason besides finance and appraisal, right? Well, financing. So the morning of the settlement deadline comes, the buyer informs the seller that they're working on getting their loan completed. Well, it's the day of settlement, right? But they need a few more days, right? And so this is early in the morning. The buyer calls the listing agent, says, hey, we need a few more days. But the seller says, well, we'll talk about it with the seller.
Well, knowing that a CD must not have gone out, I don't, they should have.
There was no CD.
It should have been done way before settlement deadline.
Right? So this addendum never comes from the buyer asking for an extension, right? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The listing agent calls me and says, I don't know what to do, right? We don't have docs. Nothing's there, right? So I tell them, go to settlement, sign all your documents, right? Everything that's there is the seller, go to settlement. So they did. Settlement, the seller went, they signed. At 4:01, after the seller had signed, the buyer's agent calls and says, here's an addendum. I just sent it over. We're asking for an extension. So the listing agent calls the seller and says, hey, they're asking for an extension. The seller says, well, let me think about it for a little bit. Okay, I'm not sure that what I want to do here, right? At 6 p.m., the seller calls the seller's agent and says, hey, let's send over a reinstatement of the Rep C, because at that point we're past settlement deadline, right? So the Rep C is done. So they're reinstating the Rep C. The seller says, okay, we'll reinstate it as long as the buyer agrees to release the earnest money as non-refundable earnest money to me right now, right? That's what they said. The buyer doesn't sign it. It gets sent over, the buyer doesn't sign it. The next day, the seller sends another one saying, hey, here's another reinstatement. Happy to reinstate if you'll do this and have the $10,000 released. No response from the buyer whatsoever.
Sounds like buyers.
The following day, the buyer sends a reinstatement addendum extending the deadline, but no mention of the earnest money being released to the seller. So the buyer's saying, here, we'll extend, but I'm not releasing the earnest money. The seller.
Did they counter those other addendums?
No. So those addendums had lapsed.
Wow.
Okay, so we've got a new addendum. We've got no contract at this point.
Buyer loses.
They send a new reinstatement addendum over, right? The seller counters that the earnest money is being released. There's no response from the buyer. The seller gives notice to the buyer that the seller gives notice to the buyer that the transaction is canceled and demands the earnest money to be released and relists the home for sale. Okay. The home sells in a quick transaction. I think it was less than a week. It sold completely. And the buyer's brokerage gets contacted to have the earnest money released. The response is that the buyer is disputing the earnest money is being refunded to them because the seller sold to another buyer. That's their reason. Okay. They said, well, you sold to someone else, so the earnest money goes back to me, right? And then they also said that the buyer couldn't qualify for their loan or mortgage, right? If you remember, addendum 2 says that it's only non-refundable if they couldn't qualify. If they couldn't qualify, it's still refunded. So where are we at? We go to court. Super fun. Who wins and why?
The lawyers.
Seller. Why? Because of the very first provision. They didn't make a clarification in the addendum regarding the finance and appraisal deadline. Okay. So 8.3 BI. Yes.
They were past that time.
So 8.3 BI. We've got, this is what the judge said, right? He reviewed it. The judge said, according to 8.3 BI, these are only triggered by a notice, right? So it has to be written. So 8.3 BI can only affect if it's in writing. So based on undisputed facts, the buyer did not provide notice in section 8.3 BI. Therefore, the Rep C wasn't canceled and the remedies of 8.3 do not apply. So this section that said the $10,000 is non-refundable doesn't matter because the buyer never canceled. There was no written notice of cancellation. Okay.
What? So who gets the money? The buyer then got it back?
So addendum 2, how about this part? Addendum 2, non-refundable, right? The judge said nothing in addendum 2 conflicts with the notice requirements of section 2 or section 8.3b, right? They still have to give written notice. So the buyer remained under obligation to give the seller, if he was electing to cancel, written notice. Based on undisputed facts, he did not notify the seller. Each provision and remedies of 8.3b require notice. So no notice was required, was provided. The remedies, including modifications to the remedies through addendum 2, are not triggered and don't apply.
Wow.
It's communication.
It's gone, all right? It's not there. There's no notice. There's no notice of cancellation at all. So those don't apply.
But wouldn't they cancel, I mean, if you don't do anything after a certain time, doesn't that mean that it's canceled?
It's not written, right? So the seller, remember, the seller canceled on the buyer, right? Because the seller, why did they cancel?
Well, they canceled.
Because the seller was in default, right? Sorry, the buyer was in default, right? So this is what the judge said. Based on the undisputed facts, the seller complied with the terms of the Rep C and the buyer did not. On the date of closing, the seller appeared and proceeded to execute all documents needed to close the sale as contemplated in the rep sheet. Buyer failed to appear at closing and failed to execute the documents and pay the monies necessary to complete the rep sheet. The buyer was in default of his obligation.
So then he did lose.
So the buyer lost the money, but not for the reasons.
Not
that
for
we
the
thought.
reasons that everybody would think.
Yeah.
So, isn't it
And this
true?
wasn't a.
It was
Fathom
just the
buyer,
showing that
everything they went through.
Fathom seller.
So had the
So
seller
we had the
gone and
seller-
signed, what would have happened?
If the seller had not gone unsigned, then you've got both parties in default.
Both parties.
So isn't it, I've always were told that, or at least I thought I was, that if you got an earnest money dispute going on, you can't really go sell the home to somebody else, because you gotta work out that dispute before, because the seller could be put in a really bad situation if.
Only if there's a cloud on title, right? And since there's no lien or anything put against it, we're only talking about the earnest money itself. If the seller had to match it, they would just have to match it. It's
But
not
if the buyer ends
necessary.
up winning and being able to try to sue for performance, the seller already sold. to
So if
somebody
they
else.
were suing for performance, there may be an issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
That's
But
why
since they weren't,
The sale was canceled.
Well, it was never canceled.
it was canceled by the seller. Yeah. So here's the ruling. The defendants are entitled to the earnest money. The deposit had to be paid to them, plus all damages, plus all attorney's fees, plus interest, right?
What
This is the
company-
date, that the document, where the judgment came down, so just in July.
2 years.
This is when we started,
Yes.
over $10,000.
What a
What
hassle.
was the total amount paid?
Yeah, I was
I don't
gonna
know.
say.
Which company was the buyer's agent with?
A little dinky,
And you know what the next suit was gonna be
what?
for the agent.
Go to the agent.
Oh, I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure. The agent was all kinds of crazy, so.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully you guys saw this email. If you didn't, just ignore this part. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Totally fine. This transaction method, just ignore that. USDA boundaries, just so you know, these changed. If I click over real quick.
Big time.
I don't know why that one's not coming up. There it is. So this reddish area is brand new. It's now excluded. So you cannot do USDA loans in Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs. Okay,
What about Basin?
this starts in
Yeah.
October.
It's still good.
Right.
It was only,
This is
those are
okay.
the only areas. that-
Only the only areas time the south, right? In the north, you've got. In the north, you've got Tooele, and in the south, you've got Cedar City. Okay, so those are the only new areas there. I'm gonna skip through most of this. This is MLS News. Hopefully you know about it. Agent appreciation. This is our barbecue that we did. We loved having you guys. We hope that you come to these more often. It was cold. It was really cold. Todd was there shivering in his shorts. It was cold, but it was a great time. We really enjoyed having you. Just look for, we're gonna have our Christmas party coming up, so just be ready for that. And then client appreciation, we are doing client appreciation event, our typical pumpkin pie Thanksgiving event. If you would like to be part of this, it's pretty cheap. It's about $30 an agent plus the cost of your pies. We'll help you get flyers and those kind of things together. We just need to start reaching out right away. So just know we need that. And if you've got a charity that we can support, we would love to have recommendations for a charity we can support with clothes or food or whatever for Thanksgiving. Okay. I think the only thing left of my thing will work is classes. So these are the upcoming classes. All right, guys. Oh, and by the way, this last class, the one in November 8th, this is by a tax guy. He's awesome. He's going to come in and talk to us about building wealth through your tax structure and those kind of things. Thanks for being here.
I'm putting together a certification for Hometown Heroes. So if you have not been certified, the goal has been to do that through IntelliAgent, and it's taking longer than expected. Surprise, surprise. So I'm taking matters into my own hands and putting together a certification. If you have not been certified and want to, let me know.